Thanks for downloading the Highly Relevant podcast. But before we begin the show, I want to talk to you about the All of Us research program. Hispanics are the largest ethnic minorities in the USA, up to 18% of the population. However, we are underrepresented in research studies, only 10%. This gap means that researchers know less about our health. Hispanics deserve to be represented in studies so we can know more about our health and be as healthy as possible. As our population grows, so should our participation. Create a better future by participating. Just visit joinallofus.org/highly relevant. Welcome to episode 157 of the Highly Relevant Podcast, a show focused on Latinx pop culture and the artists and stories that are reshaping and influencing mainstream entertainment. I'm your host, Jack Rico, and this week we're going to have some Latino Asian flavor on the show. I actually had a chance to recently speak to writer, creator, and showrunner Teresa Hsiao. She's the person that's in charge of Comedy Central's Akwafina's Nora from Queens. And I had a chance to interview her for our Brown and Black episode, but I decided to use one of her answers that I asked her there on this show because I wanted to discuss with her the reasons that she believes Latino creators are lagging behind Asians and Blacks in Hollywood roles. And I feel like her answer, which you'll shortly hear in a few, it left me contemplating if we can control our success, or does the Hollywood system dictate our successes? But before we get to Teresa and her answer, it's time I give you my weekly recap of the top Latinx pop culture headlines in a segment I like to call Jacked In. Let's begin with the top movie, TV, and music news of the week. Cobra Kai star Xolo Maridueña will be DC's first Latino superhero as the Blue Beetle. Isaac Gonzalez will star in a Maria Felix biopic headed to the big screen. Latinx drama Promised Land nabs an ABC series greenlight. Bad Bunny and bachata band Aventura release a new track called Volví. Lin-Manuel Miranda's directorial debut TikTok Boom will kick off the 35th edition of the AFI Fest. Ramon Rodriguez joins Aubrey Plaza to star in the Hulu plot Olga Dies Dreaming. The New York Film Festival will close with Pedro Almodovar's Parallel Mothers. Sylvester Dangon launches a new label to help propel vallenato artists. Robert Rodriguez's El Rey network transitions from cable TV to streaming in a deal with Cinedigm. Wednesday Addams Netflix series casts Luis Guzman as Gomez, and catch Rosa Salazar star in Netflix's revenge thriller Brand New Cherry Flavor, out now. And in tech and social media news, Twitter is rolling out its new chirp font to the Twitter app and feed. Instagram will let you limit DMs and comments from people who don't follow you. YouTube is getting into live events this month with YouTube Theater, a 6,000-seat arena next to the SoFi Stadium in Hollywood Park. TikTok is now testing Snapchat-like stories which disappear in 24 hours. And a new Vanity Fair-like paywall website called Puck is live now. So I'm not sure if you've had a chance to catch the latest census numbers that recently came out, and to no surprise, Latinos made up about half the country's growth over the past decade. It's about 23% since 2010. But here's an interesting thing. Asians are the ones who really boomed the US population in the last few years. They grew by 36%, and that's a rise that made up nearly a fifth of the country's total. And that presence has been felt all across pop culture. And you could see it in BTS. You could see it to the Best Picture Oscar winner Parasite. You could see it in Crazy Rich Asians. It's no secret that Asian talent and creators are in demand right now. And even this year, the celebrity rise of SNL's Bowen Yang, Henry Golding starring as the lead in G.I. Joe's Snake Eyes, or Marvel creating their first Asian superhero film, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. You know, that's just population numbers. If I were to give you the Hollywood numbers, those are even more interesting. So according to a Hollywood diversity study by UCLA last year, Asians now equal Latinos in film lead roles at 5.4%. The Asian population in the US is just 5.7%, while the Latino is a whopping 20%. So that's almost a quarter of the whole US enchilada. The Asian gap in Hollywood leading roles versus their entire population, it's just 0.3%, while the Latino gap is 14.5%. And that's concerning. So this is why I decided to ask Teresa Hsiao, the co-creator and showrunner of Akwafina's Nora from Queens, about what Asian creators are doing that isn't working for Latino creators.
The crazy thing for me is it's not anything that you guys have to do. It's really the system has to change. And like, that's an insane thing. I mean, I feel like In the Heights, which is a great movie, and the hard thing was I saw it in my house, it's like I didn't get to see it in theaters. And then, of course, that's sort of a casualty of the pandemic, but not having, like, I think Crazy Rich Asians really opened the door for us. It was such a sort of groundbreaking watershed moment of the executives and all the people in charge with the purse strings. They said, oh, wait, Asian people will come out for this. And that was really showcasing that. And I think a lot of, like, for instance, our show, we got greenlit after the success of Crazy Rich Asians. And I think a lot of other shows in the same sort of way of just people thinking, okay, great, they'll come out for this. We know it's an entity because like they don't want to like spend the money without having that like proof.
And that last part that Teresa said, that's very similar to what Randall Park told us about celebrity packaging.
In this industry, it's all about packaging. They don't even care about, I mean, the idea is important, but what really gets a show, at least even in development, let alone, a pilot greenlit or whatever, is the package. What stars do you bring to that package, along with that idea? What famous director do you attach?
What Randall is saying is that Hollywood works on the value of popularity. But unfortunately, it's something that a lot of Latino actors just don't have at that level. Yes, in music it works, but popularity for film actors or just any actor, that's hard to achieve. So the question is, do we have stars with big enough names that can attract mass audiences? And I believe that the answer is probably no. Historically, we haven't had the chance to showcase Latino talent and persuade the executives that we're bankable. And Teresa feels that In the Heights could have been that breakthrough to provide the proof that Latino content is coveted.
Unfortunately, with In the Heights, it felt like if that had gone out and done gangbusters, but because of the weird release of it, that was a really tough thing that it just couldn't be like a huge hit. And so for me, I don't want to say like it's anything that the creators have to do. It's like the content is out there. Like we are all doing it. We're all making it. And it's just the studios that have to, basically take chances on things and be able to say, hey, I want to make this because it's an authentic story. And actually make it happen, because I think they all say they want to do it, but then it's very rare when it actually happens. And it is truly insane why we can't have more content. You have like 80 shows out there that are all like, hey, here's the same 2 guys, whatever, doing the same thing. And it's just because they have a track record. It's because they have the experience. Because again, the people in the past that have the experience, they all get to make their own shows, but we don't ever get the experience. Like a handful of us ever get the experience. And so they have to take chances on people like us, because it's like, it's not like, I feel like we are doing it. We're doing the thing. It's just like people, unless we get all the billions of dollars and we're able to take chances on our own. Unfortunately, I think that's just kind of weirdly how the system is right now, which is a huge bummer.
And a huge bummer it is. I want to thank Teresa for her viewpoints, and I think that breakthrough will come in due time with stars like Anthony Ramos, Leslie Grace, Danny Ramirez. And I just think that the world isn't ready for us yet. But you know what? One day it will be. One day it will be. You can bet on that. Before we head on to my music recommendations, let me talk to you about the All of Us research program. Hispanic culture is pop culture. We're leaving our mark everywhere from music to food to fashion. One place where we need to make an impact is scientific research. All of us want to include our voices in research so we have a better idea of how unique we are genetically and to see if we're prone to other diseases. Did you know individuals of Puerto Rican descent are roughly twice as likely to develop diabetes as someone with South American heritage? Join the revolution by participating in All of Us. Visit joinallofus.org/highly relevant. Now, back to the show. And before I head on out of here are 3 land tracks you might want to add to your playlist this weekend.
Soy tu corazón, el que está latiendo. Eres la razón, la calma y la fe.
Trébol, ven a leer.
Te amaré, suerte que te encontré.
M, Miel y Bardo José.
Creí que te olvidé.
Igual a nadie, Van Gogh.
Eres igual a nadie, nadie será igual.
And that's it for episode 157 of the Highly Relevant Podcast. If you like what you heard, please share with your friends and have them subscribe and leave a review. It helps the show be heard by many more people. If you would like to get in touch with me, reach out on Twitter at JackRicoOfficial, Instagram at JackRico, or my YouTube channel at JackRico. I'm Jack Rico. See you next week on another episode of Highly Relevant.